At Martin David, Jay wants to know, is it possible that DC originally announced 2015 for Batman vs. Superman as a way to see Marvel's response and then adjusted accordingly?
No, I don't. I actually think there's more communication that goes on between Marvel and DC than we think. It's not like they're two warring factions on each side of the lake just firing cannonballs over at each other. They have phones and they probably talk, and they look. They both want to do well, and I really don't think they're going to hurt each other. So I don't think this intrigue game of cat and mouse is. I think there's some of it there, but I don't think it's deep. So no, DC didn't make a fool of themselves, and they did make a fool of themselves. They didn't go out and make a fool of themselves by announcing a 2015 release date for Batman and Superman at Comic-Con and make a big hubbub about it, only to have to go, oh, we were just kidding, just so they could see what Marvel would do, because Marvel isn't going to react. Amy Rose is pointing this out. Marvel isn't going to react to anybody or anything. They're going to do what they want to do when they want to do it. So it would have been pointless anyway, even if they did. But so no, DC's smarter than that.
You killed my dream of imagining cannons being thrown over.
Batman symbol on one of them.
Right? Yeah. I mean, we've addressed this. I mean, they're both, again, now DC, we're stoked, is having a plan and they're mapping it out. But no, their intention is to give fans that property and to do it justice. So no, I mean, there's a rivalry to fans more than the studios in that sense.
That's a great point.
But also, I mean, the goal is to give us an amazing film-going experience that, you know, pleases both sides of the spectrum. So no, I don't.
I like the thing you just raised, like the best point. The rivalry is really amongst the fans, not amongst the companies. Because as the fans sit there, DC fanboys, Marvel fanboys, battling it out, battling out. Meanwhile, Kevin Feige and Kevin Tsujihara are sitting back in leather recliners with their arms around each other, going cha-ching. I mean, that's all they're doing when they see the war going on.
At this point.
It's a gold recliners, yeah.
I agree. Go rent Sabotage on Blu-ray.
I had to. I'm so happy.
I just like the Sabotage throwback. Yeah. Okay, what else do we got?
At DV Truman asks, I love Star Trek and Star Wars and JJ, but lens flares were distracting in Star Trek. Should I be afraid of lens flares in Episode 7?
You know what? From a pragmatic filmmaking point of view, lens flares are very handy because not only can they add an interesting visual effect when used in moderation and used right, you can use lens flares to cover up mistakes. You can use lens flares to do some really creative scene transitions. There's actually a number of things, and it felt like JJ, and JJ's he'll talk about this more than anybody else. He got hooked on lens flares, but it's not like you see that in all of his films and stuff like that. And I don't think you're going to see Star Wars, you know, like, well, hey, maybe the reason JJ took this movie was because he just pictures, can you imagine the lens flares we can do when lightsabers hit each other? So like, but I don't think he'll overdo it.
Listen, I just know, my wife has hung up a picture in the house, it's been there for about a year. I just noticed it the other day. So I never noticed these things anyway. When like the lens flares, when they're out there, I go, like people have pointed them out. I don't even notice it. I know a lot of people do, and I think that people have made a bigger hubbub about it, if you will, because it's lens flares, J.J. Abrams, lens flares, and he's aware of it. He knows the joke. He's asked about it all the time, too. If he does it, is it going to take away from the story and the fact that we're getting Star Wars back? No. People need to get over the lens flares. Get over the lens flares.
I'm not even that distracted by it, so I don't know why it bothers people so much. Like, and yeah, sometimes it can really enhance a scene, but it has become his like kind of signature. But like, it's not like he's, you know, it's a cop-out because he's an incredible director, so it doesn't bother me as well.
When you do go back and watch that first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie, though, I gotta admit, it becomes pretty noticeable. But I wouldn't say distracting. I wouldn't say distracting, though, but it becomes,
if you're looking for it,
that is very noticeable. All right.
We could turn a drinking game into lens flares, I guess, right?
What's next?
Just to say I didn't.
At the Exported Film asks, why do you think there hasn't been a sequel to the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake yet? Good or bad, it made a lot of money.
I'm not so sure how much money it made. You guys can comment. I'm going to pull up the box office numbers. You guys.
I just probably because I think after it came out, the reaction from everybody was so bad. I mean, look, another movie that made a lot of money and didn't have a sequel was the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes. That movie made a lot of money, and it had such bad feedback afterwards that sometimes they go, well, a sequel might not do well. Another movie that I think did okay was the Friday the 13th. Michael Bay produced remake that did okay, and people were like, you know, same thing. I don't need to see that again. So they we got off good here, made some money on the first one. Let's cash in our chips and get lost. So
it all depends on. Do you have the figure up?
Yeah, and it did make some money.
Yeah.
It made worldwide. It made 115 million on a $35 million budget. So
Yeah,
even when you
it's
take
a
into
success.
consideration P&A costs and subtract the 30% that theaters keep, it's still profitable.
Right.
Didn't make it any better of a movie, but it was still profitable.
And that's what I mean.
You can see it in
Yeah.
both directions. I mean, it all depends on the slate and what the studio is banking on. Some really bad movies get sequels, some really good movies don't. So I don't think there's like such a black and white formula to it. It really depends on what they're banking on. I mean, if that universe is all they had, that studio, then I think we'd probably see it. But that movie was not good, dude.
No, it just wasn't. And despite the fact that they got an incredible actor for it, I think really the bigger thing is not just the finances. It was that audiences came out of Nightmare on Elm Street not caring.
Right.
Yeah.
If it had only made $115 million, but the people who saw it were passionate about it, there's something to build on sequel. But people came out of that movie not liking it. It got a 15% critic rating and a 45% audience rating, and audience ratings always lean much higher.
Yeah.
And it was under 50%. So that makes a studio sit back and go, is it worth the investment to make another one?
Hell no.
Probably not.
Something else. I mean, as far as I just thought about something before with The Conjuring. That is, it was James Wan. By the way, I know this is completely. Where did this come from? But James Wan, who's working on the Fast and Furious movie now as well too, has said that this has been very exhausting for him in general. Like he's happy that he's making it, but it's the hardest film he's had to make. He might have needed a break. He might have needed a pushback.
But I don't think he's directing.
Is he not doing Conjuring 2?
I don't think he's directing Conjuring 2.
Well, then I'm sorry I brought that up again.
All right, let's take one more. Let's take one more from the Twitter sphere.
At Kenneth Colton says, Dumb and Dumber 2 is only a few weeks away, and it seems like it has completely fell off everyone's radar. Why do you think that this is?
Okay, the genius of that question is the fact that I didn't even realize it was only a couple weeks away. You're right. I mean, originally I was so excited for Dumb and Dumber 2, especially with how good. Finally, when the first Dumb and Dumber came out, it was all about Jim Carrey leading up to it because nobody really knew Jeff Daniels all that much. Jeff Daniels is now recognized as a huge talent in and of himself. And so I was excited about it, and I was hyping it, and I couldn't wait for the first trailer. And then the first trailer came, and for me personally, it was wah, wah. Yeah. Like, it started off strong to me, the first trailer, and then it just got weak after that, and it kind of fell off my radar. And they haven't really showed us anything else new to keep any kind of momentum going. Maybe they've got like a last week or 2 week big marketing push plan.
I don't think so.
But I gotta tell you, I'm gonna go see it opening night, but I'm nowhere near as excited about this movie as I was, a few months ago.
When we first saw that set picture of the two of them in their gear, and I was like, yes!
Yeah, it felt
and like
so good.
even the title, T.O., I mean, it's just, there's so many clever components. But that trailer, I was just like, eh? Yeah. And I just feel like, the Farley Bros, hit or miss, whatever, but...
Hit or miss, they've been missing for a long time.
I know, but there were a couple early on in their career that were great. This is one of them included. And like, I feel like it was just long enough where it could have worked, but if, the point of marketing materials is to really excite your audience, and if those aren't doing the trick, it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna have a bad film, but they usually put the funniest moments in those trailers. I think I got like one chuckle. So it's not to say I love being incorrect when I go into a film, like Ouija. I thought it was gonna be the dumbest film ever. I talked about it on here, and it actually got some good scares out of me. I love when the filmmaker has some surprises up their sleeve. So maybe they do, but up to this point, I'm with you. Nothing has really excited me about it. So I hope they prove me wrong.
I'm with you in regards to as level of excitement, because it's the same thing with the trailer, but I think that we're gonna get a bigger marketing push in the next week or two. I've even seen
They need it.
Even driving around here, there's they have that dog vehicle that's driving around. I think that you're going to see more and more as the release comes in. You'll see the actors will do more press about it too. I just hope that it's just not like a desperate attempt, and I hope that it's a return to promise.
I want to see the dog vehicle.
Yeah, I haven't seen the dog vehicle. I want to see it too.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC movie talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.